Welcome to the True Wealth Project, where we talk business, real estate, and lifestyle on your way to building a wealthy life for generations to come. I'm your host, Sam Carey, and I hope you enjoy the show. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the True Wealth Project. I'm your host, Sam Carey. Today, I am so excited to have the two sisters here in the Bay Area that are just crushing it, Ria and Yana. I met them a few months ago, I should say, at one of our events, and we kind of struck up a conversation. And they also have a local meetup in Sacramento as well, and very active in real estate. I'm super excited to have you guys. Welcome.
Thank you for having us, Sam.
Thank you, Sam.
Absolutely. Of course. I usually let my guests kind of do their own intro just because I do a really bad job of doing it. So if you guys don't mind, tell our listeners and just a little bit about yourselves and a bit of history as to how we got here.
Hi, Ria.
Sure. Thank you, Yana. So my name is Ria Landry, and I am excited to have partnered with my sister with Connected Capital Partners. My background is in mortgage and real estate. I've been in the industry for 20 years, starting in the mortgage industry. I have a background in loan origination, underwriting, and appraisal, as well as ownership in a brokerage. So, so my background is mostly in active real estate, and my sister, she introduced me, I would say, to the benefits of passive. And so now I'm expanding my work efforts to also include in more of a passive approach to my investing. And so here we are.
That's amazing. It's so cool to just have that real estate background coming into it, but that's huge. That's awesome. Yana, if you don't mind telling us a little about you as well.
Sure. So Yana Epps, and I have also about 23 years plus of real estate experience. I too started in the lending world and got licensed as an agent about 14 years ago. I was working for Coldwell Banker, and then I became an agent under Ria, who owns Cotton Realty, about 5 years ago, I'd say. And then always working a full-time corporate job. But 5 years ago, I also started my investment business to kind of grow my own portfolio. So I started wholesaling, what that is, to build capital. But ultimately, my plan was multifamily investing. So I've been saving and strategizing on how to grow my portfolio for early retirement since then. And started Connected Capital Partners with my sister just this year. I thought she would be the perfect partner. She brings a ton of real estate expertise to the table. We both love people and networking, and it just makes perfect synergy for what we do.
And marketing as well. I think we share that passion.
Yeah,
that's amazing. I feel like
so my full-time job is a marketing manager too.
Oh, that's awesome. I feel like you guys you just got it all covered, right? I mean, it's we talk about real estate investing, and I feel like there's just so many attributes to it, and just the two of you guys, just such a power couple, I guess, if I may, in this industry. So, all right, let's get into it, right? I mean, I'm always interested to know how everybody came about. Our show is mostly about creating wealth, and majority of our guests talk about passive investing as well as just apartment investing, multifamily, and being able to scale that into something that they can leave for their the future generations, right? How did you guys come about the niche of where you guys are today? How did you come about finding out about it and kind of being more active and just like this is it, this is what we're going to end up doing? How did you guys come about doing that?
Well, I can start by just saying when it comes to generational wealth, that's something that is very important, and I have quite a large family. I have 3 natural born children and recently married. I now have 9. total. So we have a lot of work to do when it comes to generational wealth and making sure everybody's covered. So, and just being in, one great thing about being in the real estate industry is you have a wealth of knowledge through the network of people that you do business with. And so having relationships with financial advisors, you're constantly, I would like to say, underwriting yourself. So what I tell my clients is, it's a good habit to underwrite yourself, like a loan officer or a bank would, to see where you are, where do you stand as far as your assets and liabilities. And so, in knowing that we have, my husband and I, a lot of work to do collectively, and having all of these resources and network to reach from, I'm always looking to educate myself and find new ways to grow the legacy that I'm building.
Wow, that's amazing. You know what? If there's one thing that I'm gonna take away. I mean, we've only been like 5 minutes in. It's underwrite yourself. That is so amazing. I think that's the very first time I've heard that, but that's going into my vocabulary. That was pretty cool.
Thanks.
Yana, would you add anything else to that? I know you guys are kind of similar backgrounds, but obviously at some point came together, right? I mean, how did you guys come about where you are today, right?
Yeah, so a lot of what I know today, I must say that, is self-taught, and it's through the network and getting to know people and what they do in real estate. I think the first thing that I started to do to be active in this business is to show up in a room full of investors, going to meetups, eventually hosting meetups, and getting to understand other people's journey. And for us, it's all about scale. Like Rhea mentioned, we have a lot of ground to cover. So what's the fastest and easiest way to get there? I've seen a lot of people be involved in different strategies. For whatever reason, multifamily just appealed to us because of the ability to scale faster. Also, my grandparents actually did own apartments, so I knew that there was some value in having larger assets, and it just seemed like the easiest way to get started. I know a lot of people feel like you have to kind of grow into multifamily, but when you really start to understand the passive opportunities and how to have fractional ownership and not take on all the liability at the same time, then it just makes more sense to get started with bigger assets.
Yeah, and that's a great point, right? I mean, most of us have started with what we knew, and it was, buying a single family home, right? Just because, everybody around us either owns one, is renting one, and we kind of have an understanding of what that market looks like, right? And at some point we all kind of graduated to buying multifamily and things like that. But just having that knowledge and having that education to be able to just say from the start, multifamily is the way to go, or just kind of at scale, that's kind of the way to do it, right? I
just want to add to that. I never wanted to own single family. For one, we live in California, and it doesn't make a difference what state it is, but landlordship never really appealed to me because we do live in California, right? But also being privy to some of these conversations and being at these networking events and hearing people talk about trading up and selling portfolios and getting rid of the headache and the hassle and finding ways to move into multifamily. I wanted to kind of skip that step.
That's amazing. I mean, just coming to realization that you can actually do that. That's huge, right? I mean, the sooner you can do that, I feel like the better off you are.
We have to also support the busy professional. So when we think about passive investing, we're thinking about the busy professional. A lot of our past clients want to scale up. They want to invest, but they don't have the manpower, the time, the network. And so we provide that network for them through passive investing.
That's great. So if I can, that's actually an excellent point, right? If I could just kind of dig into that a little bit, right? I started as a passive in apartments, right? I started as a passive investor myself before, moving into being active, right? I think it's important for me, and I will continue to do that. I'm passive investors in multiple deals, and I will continue to invest in other people's deals, right? Why do you think it's important, or do you think it's important to have that kind of good mix of, being active as well as being able to place some capital elsewhere where, you are essentially a passive investor? You're not taking on the liability, like you said, right? I mean, why is it important if it is to you guys, right?
Right. Well, one thing that's important to have the mix is you value passive more when you're actively active. So when you're
That's right.
dealing with the caved in roof, the tenant, the tenant issues, and although you have a property manager, I've had tenants find me on Facebook because they wanted to talk directly to me versus the property manager. So I think having the balance, one, educates you so that you know what to look for in your passive investment opportunities, but also knowing the benefits of how both of them fit in your life, in your lifestyle.
Yeah. And I'll add to that. So I too started as a passive investor, and naturally at some point you're just going to run out of capital, right? So I have a very strategic plan at this moment to deploy the rest of my liquid capital into the deals that I'm actively engaged on. So a contribution of my expertise and my money will go into the rest of the deals that I invest in. So that was a way for me to continue to grow my portfolio beyond being an LP in several deals and just being able to offer up expertise and an active contribution. So like
Yep.
Ria mentioned, there's a lot of people out there. We live in Silicon Valley. There's a lot of people out here who are earning good money, but want to connect to good opportunities. And we've done that legwork. We've spent a lot of time and energy finding the best operators, but just being able to kind of connect those dots is what's really important to our own wealth building strategy, but also being able to offer it up to others.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, as you can attest to it, a lot of the stuff that we do are private placements, right? I mean, this is not stuff that you can go on the New York Stock Exchange, or you can go Google search to find these
Exactly.
properties or these investments, right? Just being able to bring those opportunities to investors who are looking to expand and kind of grow their portfolio passively mostly is to me, I found that to be really not only satisfying, but it's like I'm proud to be able to do that for others, with others, right? I mean, we're all in this together in these deals, and just be able to kind of present those deals to others. It's been amazing. All right, so I do want to ask you guys, based on what I experienced myself, right? I mean, just kind of going through some passive investments that I was a part of, kind of gave me a sense of like who I want to work with and who I don't want to work with, from like, from the sponsorship team, if you would, right? I kind of like the communication style, some of the stuff that was coming through. It was like, all right, well, I'm going to continue investing with this person or this operator. But maybe not so much this other person, right? Maybe they were doing a great job, right? Maybe we're still getting distributions are on point every single quarter, right? But it's just like I now have the go-to as to who I want to work with. Yeah, kind of transitioning into on the active side. I mean, I've kind of been able to apply that as well. Have you guys had do you guys have like a checklist, I guess, for a lack of a better term, or some way of being able to like partners that you guys get involved with, and who you want to deal with or do deals with, I guess? Is there something that you guys look at or look for?
Yeah, so I think for us, we kind of work in this sequence, right? What's most important to us is being in our target markets, where we've done some research and we understand what the market can yield. It takes a lot of time and energy to kind of look through all this data and determine where to be and what makes sense. So for those reasons, we've kind of already vetted a couple markets, and within those markets, we've been looking to build long-term relationships with a couple key partners, and we found that in a couple people. Our business model is investor relations is our focus. So we partner up with the people who are doing the acquisitions, the people that are doing the due diligence, and understanding also how it felt to be an LP, the importance of transparency and communication. Of course, not everything is always going to go according to plan, but it's important to communicate changes and be totally transparent with the investor. So people who operate in that manner are people who we partner with.
And definitely, in looking at operators, really looking at the communication style, because this is a partnership, this is a business. So the operators that you work with have to be someone that fits your code of ethics, communication style, marketing style. Because I see all investors as a customer, and I love my customers to have a customer experience. And so in speaking with operators, you think, what do they display to your investors that you have long-term relationships with and that you are caring for, and knowing that they feel secure, they feel communicated with, they feel that their interest is important in the grand scheme of things, even though they are silent investors?
Not to mention track record. That's one thing that is very important to us. We are looking for operators as partners who have done several full cycle deals, or at least they're on trend to meet their target returns closer to the end of a cycle. But that's important to us too, track record. I vet people now even more stringent than when I was an LP, because I'm not only dealing with my own money now, I'm dealing with other people's money. And like Rhea said, we're here to build long-term relationships. Of course, everything's not always going to be as projected, or as, I won't even use the word promise, as projected. But as long as we can understand how a team deals with, challenges, and when things don't go according to plan, that's important to us too.
Yeah, that's huge, right? I mean, as investors, most of us we understand that there's risk involved in every investment, right? And there's also market cycles that we're going to be having to deal with. But I agree, I completely agree. Is that how do you deal with those adversities? I feel like it's huge, right? Kind of a follow-up question on that, right? I mean, are you looking for example, a particular operator? Is there like a team that you look for, kind of that's got everything covered, right? Let's say there's one person that does everything. Is that more appealing than you got 4 people that do different things but kind of bring the whole group together? Is that important to you, or is that something you look at as far as building a team, or is it just like, do you specifically target 1 or 2 people on that team?
I don't think the number of people matters as much, and it all depends, right? So if you're a full-time GP and this is what you do, it's possible to wear more than one hat. And I recognize that. But as long as we can recognize that somebody's not overwhelmed with what they've taken on, I think that's important, right? Just making sure that they're spreading the work around so that one person doesn't drop the ball, because that can easily happen when you try to wear too many hats.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And also, I think also what's important is communication within the team. So if there are multiple people that handle different aspects of responsibility, that the rest of the team has a general understanding of how that person operates, what their sources are, and they can somewhat cover the basis for that particular team member should they, things happen.
I've 100% agree. I feel like there's just, we're not always going to know everything, right? I mean, there's always going to be things that are going to need attention. But yeah, to your point, it's like, who's got the ball, and do we have the right people addressing it, right? And or just simply, is it being addressed, right? It's one thing is to just go about your day and hope that it goes away, or are we going to address it head on? Just because, to your point, we've got investors that. It's not only our own money, but it's also investor money and relationships that we've built and we want to preserve as well. So amazing points to keep in mind. I mean, when talking about kind of operators, sponsors, on the team itself. So I do want to ask you guys, what are you guys looking for? Like, what is the goal? What does the future, 6 months, 12 months, 5 years, what does that look like? What are we going to accomplish?
Well, I think I can speak for both of us to say that we have a plan to stop exchanging our time for money within about 3 to 5 years. And we are doing everything that we can to stay on track for that. And then also, because it's such a passion of ours to educate other people and bring people into this world and help people develop this mindset, we lead with education. So we do a lot of teaching and preaching and seminars and live events, and we just try to welcome everybody into our world as much as possible. So that's another part of our mission. But phase 1 for us, we've been working on deal specific syndications, but definitely phase 2 is we hope to launch a fund next year. In fact, I'm attending a fund launch in a couple of weeks. That's right. Go learn more about how that works. So we want to be able to have a fund which will ultimately lower the barrier to entry. We want to set it up so that people who have interests in real estate can get involved for less than what a traditional syndication would require. not necessarily at the level of like crowdfunding, but we want to be able to lower the minimum investment amount and kind of open it up to people who are not necessarily accredited investors either, and just let them dip their toe in the water. You know what I mean? So that's
absolutely.
a part of our mission.
Yeah, I mean, it's that education piece. I mean, whether we like it or not, it comes with the territory. But just what you guys are doing is amazing. Just kind of casting a wide net and making sure that the word gets out. It's amazing what you guys are doing and trying to get investors. Not only about just real estate investing, right? Just kind of changing that mindset. I feel like that's huge. That's really big.
And I like to always share the story of just a change in mindset. So I think we have a hustler mentality where we work hard and we're really passionate. And so in just having that ability to work hard and be passionate about my work, that all changed about 5 years ago, where I had some unexpected health conditions that changed how hard and how fast I'm used to working, right? And so then that you want to start thinking about things like passive investing before you get to the point where you can't function the way you used to, where you think, oh yeah, I have another 15 years in me. And then I wake up one day and say, yeah, no, 5. I'm
Right.
good, you know?
Right.
So,
Wow.
so yeah, I think that this is an awesome vehicle to address, unexpected
Yeah.
And one thing I'll say about both my sister and I don't think either one of us have ever only done one thing at a time. We've always had multiple streams of income. And so one person can only do so much. I think I said that earlier, right? So at some point, my money has to be making money for me. I can't just have 8 side hustles. So passive income is important.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't agree more. I feel like majority of us, all this hustle is going to go towards some sort of investment that's just going to continue to bear fruit, and not only for us, for our kids, and hopefully for generations to come. If it doesn't get lost, but
Right. And that's one important thing as far as mindset. My sister talks a lot about mindset, is working for the generations that you will never see. And I think that's an important mindset to have. It's like, why work this hard to say, oh, they just have to deal with it when I'm gone? No, I want to be clear to the generations after, what I'm working for is for you, and I expect you to continue it.
that's
And
that's
the
amazing.
biggest part of that legacy is not just leaving assets, but leaving the ability to continue and the
A blueprint.
education and the money management skills. So I know that we're both very passionate about teaching that to our children.
That's amazing. I take that very seriously as well, and at some point it's what I teach them that's going to make them successful, as opposed to what we leave them, right? So that's amazing. My kids are going to be way more successful than I ever will be.
That's the
So
goal. That's
that's
the
the
goal.
goal, right? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I could go on for hours talking to you guys. I feel like we're gonna continue to work together, and I can't wait to continue partnering with you guys on stuff. But I do have to ask you, and I kind of leave this for our listeners as well. I want to make sure that everyone's got access to you guys. If you're open to it, is there a couple of different ways that folks can get in touch with you?
Yeah, for one, for starters, they can check out our website at connectedcapital.partners. And you can also fill out an investor profile there if you're interested in doing business with us. You can also join our meetup group, which I think we'll just share the link with you, Sam, if you don't mind, and you can drop it however you like. And if you're on Facebook, we also have a community there called Real Estate and Investment Strategies. And we'll also share our own individual IG or Facebook. Rhea, any other sites? Did I miss anything?
Sure, yes. Our email is invested@connectedcapital.partners, and I am the Fabric of Real Estate on Instagram and social media.
And I'm the Real Property Princess.
That's amazing. I really appreciate you guys coming on. Like I said, we got to continue to do this and build this partnership and relationship. I feel like we owe it to everybody around us. Just share what we know, and hopefully it leads to better and bigger things. So I really appreciate you guys making time.
No, thank you, Sam. This was great.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a good one.
You too.
Alrighty.
Bye.
Thanks for watching today's episode of the True Wealth Project, and I hope you enjoyed today's guest as well. If you want to catch more of these episodes, be sure to like and subscribe us on YouTube as well as other podcast platforms. You can also get in touch with me by following me on Instagram at official Sam Carey, or you can send me an email at sam@aftocapital.com. That's sam@aftocapital.com. See you soon.